to do my 38-week update for you guys. I had Jane at 38 weeks and 2 days. It was actually the morning, so I was induced at 38 weeks and 1 day, which would be tomorrow. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be my longest pregnancy. And to be honest, I'm kind of over this whole pregnancy and I cannot wait for him to get here. I'm super uncomfortable and a lot of things have been going on this week. So I'm just gonna get right into it. Okay, so the first thing I have written down is actually something that's been happening for the past like 3 or 4 weeks is Charlie horses in my calves. And they only happen at nighttime. And they're not super bad to where they wake me up or anything, but in the mornings, my calves are super stiff and I'll get Charlie horses in them. And so that's just like annoying and kind of uncomfortable. And I know that you can drink, or the more water you drink, the Charlie horses don't happen as often. But I also know that it's also a pregnancy symptom, so I'm just kind of dealing with it, but they're kind of annoying. Also, what's been happening for the past few weeks that I never wrote down was I'm peeing so much, you guys. Actually, I'm not even really peeing a lot. I just feel like I have to pee a lot. And I'll go to try to go to the bathroom and only a few drips come out, and then I stand up and go to walk somewhere and I feel like I have to pee again. So he must be sitting right on my bladder because it's super uncomfortable. And now I've been trying to ignore it and ignore the feeling of having to go to the bathroom all the time. And then I almost pee my pants sometimes because I've waited too long and I'm like trying to run to the bathroom. We finally put the car seat in this weekend. I made it like a huge deal to Chris, like we need to put the car seat in, we need to put the car seat in. And then it took like 2 seconds to put in and now it's in and everything's fine. I'm sure we could have done that if I was in labor, just stuck it in. I guess if you're a first-time parent, then trying to figure out how to put the car seat in is a little bit difficult at times. So maybe that's why they recommend you putting it in early, but yeah, we have it in, so that's good. Another thing that we did was we set up a diaper station and all of his clothes and blankets and burp cloths and all that are downstairs in our master bedroom. We did not do that with Jane because we lived in a one-story house and her room was right next to the living room basically and right next to our room as well. So anytime we needed to change her diaper or change her clothes or anything, everything was right there in her room, right next to where we were. So now that the rooms are upstairs, we're just leaving all of his stuff in the master bedroom. I have a little changing table in there. His bassinet is all set up. And like I said, we have like a tall thing of drawers with burp cloths and his onesies and his jammies and passies and all the stuff to take a bath down there, his lotion, diaper cream, everything that we need is downstairs. So hopefully we won't have to be going up and down the stairs a lot. Another thing that's been happening the past like 2 or 3 days, or maybe even 3 or 4 days, is I am constantly starving. I don't know what it is because I feel like the last few weeks I actually haven't really been able to eat much because I feel like he's taking up so much room and my stomach is kind of squished small. And so now all of a sudden I'm starving again and I'll eat like a huge meal and then an hour later I'll be starving again. So I'm constantly eating and it's not necessarily healthy stuff either. So it's just really frustrating when you eat something and then an hour later you're wanting to eat again. And really I don't want to eat again. It's just that I'm so hungry that I pretty much have to, or else I'll be angry, angry, angry. Also on the subject of food, I'm still craving pickles all the time. I'm pretty sure I ate a whole jar of pickles last week. And then we went back to the grocery store and I bought a bigger jar of pickles to last me a little longer. And the fruity cold thing is kind of gone away. I still crave smoothies sometimes, but we don't have a smoothie place around here, so I've kind of just given that up. But this week, with me being hungry all the time, I'm constantly thinking about food. And the only foods that I can think about to eat are pretty much all unhealthy. So pizza, dumplings, which I hardly ever eat. I'm not sure why I even craved that. Spaghetti, and last night was cheeseburgers. And we had salmon to cook last night, and Chris is trying to be on a really good diet, and I just couldn't even think of eating salmon. I made him go get me a cheeseburger. I felt really bad because he is on a diet and I don't want him to have to smell the nice cheeseburger, but I just couldn't deal with it and I had to have the cheeseburger. And then of course an hour later I was starving again. So I don't know. I'm just ready. Like I said, I'm ready for this pregnancy to be over. I feel like my hormones and symptoms are all over the place. One minute I'm feeling fine, the next minute I feel horrible, and I'm just kind of over it. I think the fact that I had Jane pretty much right now and there's no sign of baby coming anytime soon now is kind of maybe frustrating me a little bit. So that's probably why I'm feeling mixed feelings about everything right now. Also, I've been nesting a lot. I mentioned that in my last video, and not necessarily nesting too much, or more so just staying on top of my cleaning schedule. I've been really good about always staying on top of my cleaning schedule and getting things cleaned when they need to be cleaned. But sometimes, at least in the past few months being pregnant, I've put a few things off to the side and done them when I felt better. You know, if I was tired one day, I just didn't do anything. But the past week, I've been doing everything just in case he decides to come, because I know when I had to be surprisingly induced with Jane, the house was a wreck when I left. I did not know I was going to be induced, and I had no inkling that that was going to happen, and the house was just a wreck, and our sweet neighbor friend cleaned our whole entire house top to bottom while we were in the hospital, and I kind of just felt bad. And I know that anybody that's going to come here to watch Jane is going to be family members, so I wouldn't feel too bad for them to clean my house, but I still feel like it needs to be somewhat clean. So I've been definitely staying on top of my cleaning schedule with vacuuming and the bathrooms getting cleaned, just everything being nice and tidy and put away where they need to be put away, and laundry. Sleeping is still pretty good, I would say. I know that a lot of people suffer from insomnia around these weeks, and I don't really have insomnia necessarily, but it is hard to get comfortable, and it's hard to move positions because of my ligament pain especially. Once I find a spot to be comfortable in, then I sleep pretty good, but then I'm waking up still 2 or 3 times to go to the bathroom, and then I gotta find a position again, and then I'm thinking about stuff, and then it takes a while to go back to sleep. I think that's pretty much it for my symptoms. I just got back from my 38-week doctor appointment, so I wanted to talk about that really quickly with you guys. I was totally expecting to go in there today and be checked for dilation and him tell me that I was at least 2 or 3 centimeters dilated, only because I was 3 centimeters dilated with Jane at this time. And my doctor this time told me that usually if you're already dilated at a certain amount of weeks, then it pretty much does the same thing in subsequent pregnancies, because it just has to do with your cervix being softened or how it softens at whatever stage of pregnancy. So I was kind of expecting that. I also have been wondering if Jackson has dropped. A few people have told me that it looks like my belly is a little lower, but I'm still getting acid reflux and indigestion, so I was wondering, like, I don't know if he's dropped or not, and sometimes I can still feel him kicking into my ribs. So I was kind of wondering if he dropped at all as well. So when I went into my doctor appointment today, he did check me for dilation, and I was 0 centimeters dilated, and he said that Jackson was still really high up and my cervix was still really thick. So that was a really big bummer, just because I am kind of ready for this pregnancy to be over, and I didn't necessarily think that I was going to go into labor anytime soon, but I was hoping that at least things were moving along and maybe I was being dilated a little bit. You know, I guess just thinking that I was dilated and then being told that I wasn't is kind of like a big bummer. So I'm 0 centimeters and Jackson is still really high up, which I guess tells me obviously that he didn't drop, and also that's why I still have the acid reflux and the indigestion. So that's kind of a downer, and I just have an appointment next week for 39 weeks. I don't think I'll be going into labor anytime soon, although he did say just because I'm 0 centimeters dilated doesn't really necessarily mean much. You know, obviously I can go into labor at any time, so that's what he says, but I'm just kind of knowing that this is probably going to be a while before he gets here. And when I say a while, really I only have 2 weeks left until my due date, but I don't know. I feel like I'm just such a planner, and I just want him to be here like right now, and I want to be able to tell him when to come and plan when he's here. So it's just really hard for me right now to let go and just wait. That's basically what I'm doing, is waiting. So that's all that really happened at the appointment. He basically told me that he didn't want to induce me unless I was dilated at all. So I'm not sure if I will be induced or not. Obviously, I could go into labor on my own between now and next week, but like I said, I don't think that will happen. But this video is getting super long now. That's all I have for you guys for this week. I will show you my 38-week belly, and then we'll probably see you next week for 39 weeks. And this is with the shirt up. So it is 42 inches, which I think that's what it was last week. And also I forgot to mention that my weight gain this week, I gained about 2.5 pounds from last week. And that makes sense because I haven't really been eating very healthy, and I've been eating a lot because I've been starving. So I think that makes me 32 pounds over my pre-pregnancy weight. And it's pretty good considering when I had Jane at this time, I was, I think, 40 pounds over my pre-pregnancy weight. So the swelling is down and I'm doing pretty good. So that's it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will probably see you next week for 39-week update. Bye.